Beautiful women, exotic locations, and espionage. The quintessential ingredients to every Bond film, including 2012's Skyfall. Ian Fleming's James Bond was born out of post-war Britain, a time when one militant threat, the Nazis, were being replaced by another militant threat, the Communists. Anyway, the Cold War and spy novels went hand in hand. Spies were a really cool idea at the time, with democracy and communism, two competing doctrines trying to make sure one wasn't about to nuke the other. When the Soviet Union was dismantled by naked silhouetted women, where did that leave the Bond films? Who's gonna be the new shadowy bad guy? Corporations? Environmentalists? Newspapers? That's the hokey what the is going on Pierce Brosnan years that I grew up with. Here's the spy who's too pretty to shoot, gives everyone his real name, sleeps with any woman who drops him a smile, and continuously gets caught in traps. He's the worst spy ever! I guess I'm just used to American heroes like Schwarzenegger or Jackie Chan. But whether I understood it or not, I thought I knew who James Bond was. So the first time I see Daniel Craig pop up for a preview of Casino Royale, I said to myself, that's not James Bond. James Bond has brown hair. But after that parkour chase scene in Africa, I was sold. It's made it impossible for me to enjoy two people running again, with fast editing and foreground swishing by, like they're trying to distract you from the fact that two people running down the street is really boring. I honestly love Casino Royale. I like that Bond was flawed, that if he slept with the wrong people, blew his cover, or killed without restraint, he actually got called out by him, had to face severe consequences, like paying for your own vacation in the Bahamas. I love that Eva Green, the luscious Bond girl, was essentially unattainable, and she pegged him for a shallow misogynist within the first 30 seconds. And he only slept with pretty, can't act, what's-her-face, just to get to the bad guy, which left her dead. Understand that, girls? Sleep with beautiful men, and you die. So naturally, I was excited to see Quantum of Solace. I wanted to see where the new direction this Bond was going to go. Unfortunately, Quantum of Solace had no direction. It was filled with big conspiracies and wild locations and a lot of action scenes that probably would have been interesting if I hadn't checked out in the first 10 minutes. Should we blame the writer's strike? I'm not gonna. But it did leave me thinking that Skyfall was doomed, that Casino Royale was this fluke success, that people who deliver explosions in third-world countries couldn't understand how to repeat. But to my surprise, Skyfall sees Craig's trilogy return to form. I mean, they didn't beat Casino Royale as far as action goes, but they did focus on character. As much character as a murderer with no hobbies can have. A big part of my satisfaction with this film stems from Javier Bardem's portrayal of a rather flamboyant criminal mastermind. I've heard it said that you're only good as your last success. That being said, Bond's villains define him. I love Bardem's character, focusing on exposing spy organizations for the meddling that they really are, forcing Bond to reconsider his relationship with his boss, who, for sake of Queen and Country, would leave him for dead without a moment's thought. Really, if you ignore that Quantum of Solace even happened, it's a great closure to the Craig trilogy, duo. And I mean, it needs to be the final chapter. I mean, he looked older than my grandmother, and she hasn't aged well at all. But I will state my biggest complaint about the movie were the 22-year-olds in tuxedos clapping at the end of the movie. What the hell are you doing? You clap at a live performance to show that you appreciate the work they've done. This is a movie. They can't hear you. And if they can hear you, I'm going to the next Michael Bay film and dropping F-bombs like it's Hiroshima. Skyfall does set up for a sequel. Not in the crappy way that Solace tried to set up a sequel, but in that, hey, Bond's not done yet. Really? You have to promise me that a film series that's gone over 23 iterations, brought in hundreds of millions of dollars over 50 years is going to have a sequel? Don't leave it much up to the imagination, do you? Anyway, this film was fun, well written, well acted. It didn't have the depth of, say, Munich, but if you wanted more than just explosions and cheeky innuendos, it's there for you. And if all you wanted was explosions and cheeky innuendos, it's there for you too. Final verdict, 6 out of 007.